Hello, everyone. This is Mira Kelly, and I have an amazing story for you. This is the story of a client of mine I just did a past life regression with, and I felt that it's such a good experience to share with you, to share the lessons, the learning, the thrill of the experience for this person. And so let's call her Terrin. Let's pick a name for her, Terrin. Everything else, though, is actually real person, real information, real experiences. And so Taryn told me that when she came for us to work together, her biggest question was about love, and she told me that when she was really young, she was in love with someone. They were in a relationship, and then he walked away. It really broke her heart. She had no idea why he walked away still till this day, and and that really closed her heart down. That really blocked her from everything, life, love, experiences. And so she decided she was not going to do love, and it was too painful, too much. And so she got into a relationship with somebody she was not in love with. But, it was somebody, she wasn't alone. And they were together for 30 years. And I asked her, "Do you have kids together?" And she was like, "No, thank God not." And she was saying there was just no connection, no passion, no connection, no common interest, nothing, nothing, nothing. And she was the one who ended the relationship after 30 years. And she did it by taking a job in a different country. So that move liberated her from the relationship, from her old life. And when she left that person, he was really devastated. He did not want anything to end. He was very happy with the way things were for the two of them. And when she was telling me all of this, she said, "I really don't know why I stayed with this person for 30 years. No idea." And then she goes to this new country, takes on this new job, and as she is now in this new life, in this new experience, she meets somebody new, and this man really helps her open her heart, and this man really allows her to reconnect with her feelings, with her emotions, with her femininity, with literally that place within herself that she had thought that she had shut down for good. However, here's the trick. This man is married, and they never jumped into an affair, never had an affair. It was just a platonic, strong connection. And as the two of them are engaged, talking, connected, sharing, and they were in close proximity with one another, she was really able to blossom. She was really able to connect with herself. And of course, she had this desire of, "Oh my God, is more possible? Could the two of us be together?" And he was very clear with, "No, I'm not leaving my wife. I've committed. I've committed to my family." And so now, 12 years later, so this has been going on for 12 years later, she is in a place of saying, "Okay, I want the best of him. This is not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for this connection, but I'm looking to sever the ties with him." I've been really asking Archangel Michael, she said, to cut the cords and cut the ties so that I'm liberated. So I actually really find my person, my guy, so that I have the relationship now I'm dreaming and yearning for. She said that she was using the word longing. And when she was saying I'm longing for this love, I was feeling her. And so now that the background is set, now that you met Taryn, I want to share with you what she experienced in her past lives. And so, in her first past life, it was really very interesting. So, for Taryn, the experience was very much 3D. Everything was happening slower with more details, visually, emotionally, the depth was there. And so she said to me, I am this woman, right? As I brought her into another lifetime, she said to me, I'm this woman. I look at my feet. I have these sandals. I have this skirt. I have this blouse. I'm holding a flower in my hand. I'm happy. And she described herself as a young woman. And she she I brought her to the place where she lives, and she described it as a small house made out of stone. And when she walked inside the house, she said it's a little darker, but it's also cooler. It's a protection from the sun. So she was really living it moment by moment, right? It was happening for her moment by moment. And um, and so she said to me that she lives there with her mother, and she's a young adult, a young older girl, if that's a wrong way to describe it, a young woman. Um, and she was saying to me how she has two younger brothers, and they're just playing with one another, just being mischievous, and just like boys playing with one another. And she immediately recognized one of them as this man who had helped her open her heart. And she recognized their connection, and she was just describing a very ordinary family scene of an older sister telling her little brothers, oh, don't do that, right? Just saying to them, just them teasing one another, and she's watching them, and just really being like, oh, don't do that, you boys, all right? And so the next scene that she saw was her feeling. It wasn't so much of a next scene, but more of an overlay of an emotion over the scene, where she's just with the family, and she said, all of a sudden I feel very sad. And she said, I just know it's not going to last. I'm looking down because my notes are here. And she was saying, I just know it's not going to last. And I said to her, okay, well, let's go to the next moment and see what's happening. And sure enough, as she's saying, somebody's hitting me with a knife from behind, somebody's hurting me, and I'm being hurt. And she couldn't quite understand what's going on, which is totally natural, right? The shock of the moment. And so I asked her to rise above and to observe the scene from above. And she was saying to me, oh, it's this man, this darker figure, this darker man who is hurting me, and who is really angry and jealous and full of a lot of just anger. And she still couldn't understand, why is this man hurting her, right? And so this is where the beauty of this woman's ability to go into deep trance really struck me. So I said to her, well, ask him, right? Like, ask him, why is he hurting you? And so sure enough, she says, why are you hurting me? And sure enough, he gives the answer. I just love my work. I just love what's possible with consciousness when people are deep in the experience, right? And she says, oh, he's telling me that he wanted to marry me. He was a suitor of mine, and I refused him. I didn't want to have anything to do with him because I didn't like him. He wasn't somebody I wanted to be with. And so in his rage, in his anger, he uh, he 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 killed her. And so here's what happened next. I said to her, this is where the amazingness of this experience is. I said to her, do you recognize this person as somebody you know in your present life? And she said, absolutely. This is my former husband, the one of 30 years. And she said, he's the one who is hurting me. And so now here's what's so amazing, and here's what I want to bring to you as a lesson. I want you to hear this so clearly. Love binds us, but also hate binds us. Hurting other people binds us. So if you ever needed a reason to be a good person, this is it. Don't do things that are gonna bind you to other people, for real. Because here's what happened with these two. now he came back, the two of them came back in this life as a husband and wife. And do you remember her question of her saying to me, I don't even know why I stayed with this man for 30 years and why was he so in love with me and not wanting to break up the relationship? And I didn't feel the passion, didn't feel the connection. It wasn't there for me. Well, that's the reason. By him hurting her, he bound himself to her, right? He had to now, if you want to use the word karma, he had to repay the karma of being there and really serving her and really loving her and really balancing out what he did. And sure enough, she showed up as a willing participant to help him clear the karma. So it's not like she couldn't have a choice as a soul, right? She of course had a choice as a soul. And of course, us as souls, we're cooperative components. She was the one who agreed for him to experience his rage and anger. And what happens when you're so angry and feel powerless to meet your needs, right? And how that destroys. And she was willing to keep on being the cooperative component of helping him clear and learn that lesson in another lifetime too. So it's not like she was just automatically bound to him, even though I'm using the word bound. You understand that I'm talking about soul choices, yet these are some powerful, strong soul choices. So that's the first lifetime. And then she goes into a second. Oh, I didn't tell you something very important. So now here's what we did. As she is looking at the scene of him murdering her from above, I asked her to forgive him. And I asked her to forgive herself for allowing herself to get into this situation, right? For this to happen with her in that lifetime and in this lifetime. And sure enough, she worked with that forgiveness energy, and it was so beautiful when she felt the emotions of, you walk in peace now. And she really said that to him, and she really experienced the relief of that and the relief of her own freedom, right? Her own claiming of that freedom. And so, forgiveness, super important when there is the feeling of clearing old stuff so we don't carry into other lifetimes going forward. And so then she experienced another lifetime, and this time we were looking to understand her connection with this friend whom she had fallen in love with, and now was looking to sever the connection. So now remember, in the first lifetime, she already saw him as her little brother and the love and the familial connection there. And now in this lifetime, the second lifetime, she saw herself as this beautiful woman sitting in a bar, and she was sitting at the bar having a glass of wine. She was describing to me that she was wearing red heels and stockings and this dress, and she was anxious. She was very, very anxious. Oh, and she told me at some point, oh, did I tell you I'm also smoking? I'm really very anxious. I'm smoking. And tapping her foot, as she's anxiously awaiting. And um, and so she's telling me that she's waiting for this man that she's in love with, and she's not sure if he's going to show up. He shows up. The two of them have a very passionate time together. She didn't say where did they exactly go, but she was describing this room and the two of them being in love and being in this bed making love, and how safe he made her feel, and how handsome he was, and how in love she is with him. And even though he made her feel safe, at the same time there was the sadness of, yeah, but he's not mine. And so the next thing that happened between the two of them is they had this separation moment where she was seeing him walk away, and she was saying to me, he is married to a woman who is the daughter of his boss, and he feels that if he breaks off his marriage, even though he's in love with me, if he breaks off his marriage, that will impede his career. And so he walked away. He walked away from the relationship, and she was really heartbroken. And so she said to me, in order to cope, I decided that I'm going to really sink in. And she used this phrase. She said, I'm going to calm down the pain by picking other men at the same bar. And so there was a short period of time when she would just go and meet other men and have emotionless sexual encounters with them, but that didn't feel good. And she got pregnant. She felt really dirty around the whole experience, and she just left. She said, I'm leaving this place, and she moved to the country. And it was just her and her daughter. She was raising her daughter, and she was still so in love with this man. And she was saying, as I look at my daughter, I'm always looking for, does she look like him? Does she have his features? Is it his mannerisms? And then she'll say, and still it doesn't make sense, because when I do the calculations in my head, it could not possibly be his girl. But still, the longing, the love. And so then the next important thing that happened for her was that he came back. She said, he found me somehow, and I know he's here for good. I know that we're now going to be together. And he again, I asked her to have a conversation with him so that the two of them can communicate. And he told her that he had broken up the marriage because the former wife was realizing that something is different. He's not present. He's not interested in the relationship. So they had broken up the marriage, and he had found her. And she was describing to me this sweet, lovely moment of her little girl sitting on his lap, and the three of them laughing as a family, and the little girl being really open with him and embracing him as her father. And then they went on to have two more kids, two more children. And she was saying, but now I look very different. I don't wear red high heels anymore. I wear more comfortable, relaxed clothing. I'm a mother, and we're all so happy. And so when she died, he had already passed on. She was surrounded by her children and their children. And she was really in a place of fulfillment, this feeling of never give up on love, always go for love. Love will open up for you. You just always stay true and committed to love. And that's the lesson that she derived from that experience. And it was really very moving how when she came out of the regression, she really had this clear feeling of, okay, I understand this man, this friend, came into my life to help me open up my heart. That was his purpose. Even though I wanted more, it wasn't for that in this life. In this life, the purpose of him coming into my life was to remind me how good love could be, to open my heart and to let me move on. And so she said, the energy is clear. I feel very clear. I feel very open to love. I feel like the blocks are cleared. I understand why I stayed in that marriage for 30 years previously. And now I'm ready. I'm ready for love. And there was such lightness in her, such freedom, such sense of I'm on my way, and I feel unencumbered. So I wanted to share this story with you because it really felt so deeply moving for her, for me, listening to everything she was speaking of. And also, I wanted to convey that to you. Don't give up on love. Remember, don't hurt anybody, because when you hurt people, you get bound to them. And also, if you stayed with somebody for a period of time where it just doesn't make sense, well, think of Terrin's story. Maybe there was a good reason for it, right? Maybe you were helping them learn lessons and balance out their karma. And maybe somebody who comes into your life, if the relationship doesn't unfold the way you want it to, maybe it's not meant for it to be that way. Maybe in this life they're simply meant, even though there's undeniably strong soulmate connection, maybe in this lifetime they're really meant to just be the person who uplevels you in your expectations, in your life, in your openness to love. And so I'm sending all my love. Reach out to me. Email me at info@mirakelly.com or just through my website so that we can work together and so we can clear the blocks that you're experiencing in your love life. I'm sending you all my love. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.